All right, welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am the guy who called Maria Oliveira defeating Vanessa Demopoulos. I'm here to talk about the whole fight night event, which I guess now is going to be called. I think it's still called Lewis versus Spivak, but it might be changed to Kennedy versus or Nzechukwu versus Cutelaba. But yeah, as you know, Derek Lewis was declared ill. I think it was an illness, and he's already been cleared to fight, but he wasn't able to fight yesterday when he needed to. So it sucks for Derek Lewis, no doubt about it. He wanted to be there, and sucks for Spivak too. Imagine getting that news. But Kennedy and Nzechukwu and Iwan Cutelaba gave us a very good fight. I want to say it was the fight of the night. I didn't look up the bonuses, but probably should have. I think it was the fight of the night. It was. It seems like it, just looking at the list here. And it was the main event. So that was awesome. They gave us a back and forth war, I guess you could call it. I don't know. But anyway, it was a bit of a comeback. Iwan had a strong first round. And Kennedy and Nzechukwu took over. And I thought he was going to take over. I had it in my head he was going to take over even before he started actually taking over that fight. It just seems like Iwan, he's a real strong round one fighter. But then, he tends to fade. And he was up against it physically with Kennedy. So once he wasn't there, cardio-wise, and, he was a little discouraged maybe because he couldn't mount that much offense on Kennedy. He mounted a good amount of offense, I should say, but, he didn't get his 10-8 round or anything like that, which I thought was a good possibility with the way that guy fights. But anyway, he may have emptied his tank, and Kennedy took over, got a beautiful flying knee TKO finish, and really shined while the spotlight was on him. Although maybe that's what you do when a spotlight is on you. I don't know. Chase Sherman in the co-main event, I got that one wrong. Waldo Cortez Acosta this fight was mostly boxing, and I thought Chase won everything that wasn't boxing, but there just wasn't enough non-boxing. Chase had a very successful round one, working leg kicks, and hit that beautiful takedown at the end, which was a pleasant surprise. But for guys that don't fight, with takedowns, it's tough to maintain, to use that energy and maintain that type of style for 3 rounds. I think Chase just hit that one takedown he had in him, and then afterwards he didn't have much for Acosta. Acosta was faster and did have clearly better hands. Chase was surviving, though, and still was throwing. He was, he made a fight out of it, but to me it seemed clear after round one that Waldo was taking over that fight, and he did. And look, the guys fought the bottom of the barrel in the UFC, Chase Sherman and Jared Vanderaa, even though I picked Chase Sherman to win. But still, Waldo, he's gone tooth and nail with them, so I don't want to say he's got the highest ceiling. I don't think he does. But he's pulled through with strong, third rounds against both guys, especially against Chase. So can't knock him for that. He's 2-0 in the UFC inside of 3 weeks or whatever. Pretty damn cool. And it sucks for Chase Sherman. Muslim Salikov versus Andre Fialho was next, and that was a good fight. Maybe that was fight of the night. I don't know. But Muslim Salikov, look, he's just a perfect example of spinning attacks, being his thing, where it's just, we're throwing spinning shit now, to quote Nick Diaz. Sometimes spinning shit works when you're really good at it. And I feel like that was half the points he scored in that fight were from spinning attacks. They were certainly his biggest moments and, his best moments, of finishing moments. But Fialho was still trying to crowd him by, bigger guy, taller guy with longer reach. And Fialho was tagging him, busted up his eye at the end of round one, which wasn't a good look, and I thought he did tighten up that round, but before that I thought Salikov was doing well, but then it didn't matter. Salikov took over with some spinning attacks in round two. The guy's just so good with that shit. It's amazing, and he's 39, I think, 38 going on 39, but still very, very deadly, and he was able to get Fialho out of there in round three. Maybe it wasn't the cleanest stoppage of all, but still, it was a damn good performance from Salikov. And that's why I said going into it, I couldn't, even if I bet on Salikov, I couldn't trust that he would go to a decision, even though he's been trending that way. Now, 3 of his 4 decision victories have happened in his last 3 victories before this one. But Fialho's got that just a little more shakiness to him. He's a little more weak striking-wise. I don't want to say it's his chin, but whatever. He's got something going on there. He's not as durable, and Salikov was able to take him out. Next up, Jack Della Maddalena. Speaking of taking people out, yeah, he got that one done pretty quickly. That guy, I think he finished him really, Danny Roberts, with a body shot in the middle of a combination. I think that's what did it, just from watching Danny Roberts' arms, moving up and down, protecting himself. And regardless, it was just he put it all together where it's an overwhelming assault from everywhere. And he makes it really tough to defend his striking assault. So Jack Della Maddalena did what few have done to Danny Roberts. I know Taleb knocked him out and Michel Pereira, but Jack Della Maddalena just beat the living shit out of him for a few rounds, for a few minutes, and then took him out early, round one. So, great performance. Zhalgas Zhumagulov, I thought he won that fight. By the way, I didn't post my video for that. I thought I did. I recapped my bet. I recapped the video in my best bets video, whatever you call it. But I did pick Zhalgas to win. I thought he would win a decision. I thought he would crowd Charles Johnson, and I'm kind of glad I didn't post the video because even though that is kind of what happened, I thought he won. He lost a decision. It was a bad decision. I thought he clearly won rounds 1 and 2, but even more sure of that, I'm sure he lost round 3. So. Whatever. Charles Johnson gets the decision. He did, do what he needed to do in round 3 to give himself a shot at getting a bad decision. I think he got one. But Zhalgas retired, and he retired on, that's a story of his UFC career. Guy was in all of these fights that he lost, aside from the Manel Kape fight. Although even that, who knows? You could say it wasn't the best stoppage. But tough UFC career, and this is a really tough end to it. A bad decision in my opinion. And that's not just sour grapes. I have to call it like I see it. I was like, oh, fuck. Charles Johnson. Jennifer Maia took out Marina Moroz. This was I don't want to say eye-opening. I did pick Moroz, and I was sure she would win the striking battle. I thought it would be volume and reach, which it was to an extent. Volume and reach versus power. But, Jennifer Maia has more than power. She's got speed, and her technique is sharp, and I overlooked her. After watching her fight for years and years, I overlooked her. And she had an eye-opening performance here. Really, maybe I shouldn't say eye-opening. It wasn't the biggest upset, but she opened my eyes anyway. She definitely took it to Moroz. I thought she was the better fighter throughout the whole fight. Moroz did get better in the end. Not that she was better, but she started performing better. And it wasn't a case of Maia slowing down either. I thought Moroz just started making adjustments. But Maia was the better fighter throughout this fight and clearly won it on anyone's card. So great performance from Jennifer Maia. Really redemptive performance, She needed a win like this to maintain her status as one of the best fighters. This is a fighter you have to beat. Not too many have, and she got it done. Miles Johns outpointed Vince Morales, which, whatever. Wasn't the best fight, but Johns, he had enough. His striking was better in the first few rounds, and he hit a takedown in round 2, whatever. He outpointed him overall, but pretty shitty fight in my opinion, but whatever. Miles Johns did win, did outperform Vince Morales, and he outlasted him. So, there's that. Ricky Turcios and Kevin Natividad had, a low-key war. Some big moments in that. There were moments where it looked like both of them were hurt. I did pick Ricky Turcios to win, so I'm glad he won. I kind of expected it to be a decision, but I didn't really trust either one of their durability. I didn't trust the durability in this one. More on the Natividad side, but Turcios isn't the biggest finisher, certainly with his fists. He's only got a few TKOs, but still, I thought anything could have happened in this one, and we got the most likely outcome, in my opinion. Turcios winning a decision, but still, he was a step ahead in a really close fight. Really close one. This was, like I said, a low-key war. And a mess. Vanessa Demopoulos takes out Maria Oliveira. That was a very impressive performance. That's one where I just got it completely wrong. I did think Vanessa Demopoulos was better on the ground. I said, if they go to the ground, she'll be winning. I thought she would win via armbar from being on the bottom, actually. But I didn't envision her out-wrestling Maria Oliveira and doing it so thoroughly. And she did that. And she looked really good. She had some moments where she almost put her away. Some really great ground and pound. I really liked Vanessa Demopoulos' performance here. This is... again, I can't say eye-opening, but it was a damn good performance from Vanessa Demopoulos. And Maria Oliveira, she's got a lot of advantages over a lot of fighters, but to make use of that, she's got to tighten up her wrestling defense. She's got to work on that takedown defense, no doubt about it. Vanessa Demopoulos is not the best takedown artist, at least on paper. Statistically, she doesn't appear to be. And she, didn't need to get to... She didn't even need to get to plan B or C, pulling guard or doing this or that. It was just straight up double legs in the center of the mat, and she was putting her on her ass. So definitely some adjustments to be made from Maria. Brady Heaton, he was dropped early and then almost choked out with a rear naked choke in the first 30 seconds, and then he pretty much took over the fight. Brady is a savage, but I do think he needs to work on his control on the ground. He gets a little too wild. He's a little too aggressive, and he's not maintaining position. He's lost top position plenty of times in the fights I've seen him in. Only a few fights, by the way. But still, his grappling seemed to be there at a, UFC level here. He was a dominant grappler in this fight and a dog on their feet. They both really were, but Heaton is definitely a savage. And for a guy that, I've doubted his cardio in the past, now the one thing I'm sure of is that he's got a second wind. After watching him in these wars, he's definitely got a second wind. I think that's a consistency, something we'll see in every fight from him, unless he's knocked out. But definitely a very exciting fighter, and that was a great performance. And Teresa Bleda had a decent first round against Natalia Silva, but then Natalia Silva took over the fight. That was one where I ended up coming down on Bleda's side. I convinced myself Bleda would win, and I thought it would be with top control. I thought she did look good in the first round, even though Natalia Silva definitely made some tactical errors. Instead of, disengaging a lot from the grappling and the clinch, she was putting herself right in there, and I think she hit a throw, and then Bleda reversed her, just maintained a tight body lock, held tight and reversed her. And Bleda is a problem for a lot of fighters on top. I don't think she was able to show her full skill set here. I don't think she ever hit the mount on Silva. I think she was swept from half guard or something. I forget exactly how it went. But once she was swept, she did what she has done a few times in the past, is go right to a triangle choke. She isolates an arm and goes for an armbar or a triangle choke almost immediately, and she was able to do it here, and I thought she had it. Very good first round from her, and great submission defense from Natalia Silva, great composure, and of course down the stretch, great everything else. Striking, volume, whatever, takedown defense. She really took over that fight after round one, and I don't like talking about my bets in these post-fight videos because I never want to make it about my bets. Oh, I won money. Did you see that? But this was an example of my pick going wrong. First fight of the night, I went 0-1, and I still won back half my money that I bet, whatever you call it, for the event on a horseshit prop bet hedge, which was Natalia Silva winning via TKO. I also thought Bleda's odds were insane, so I ended up playing her via finish, but particularly TKO for Natalia Silva I played, and round 3 hit, and it won back half my money. So I went 0-1, and I still profited from that. I'm saying there are holes in a lot of these odds. Sometimes they just get things wrong. And this was, again, I hate to pat myself on the back, but I lost this one. I got the pick wrong, but I saw something where they got the odds wrong for a fighter that's very inexperienced and 20 years old. Again, she's got deceptively low experience. She does have 5 amateur fights and 3 exhibition fights, and those were, again, against Lucia Pudilova and some other tough fighters. So it's not like she's your normal 20-year-old with 6-0 experience, but she is still 20 years old, and 20-year-olds are susceptible to learning lessons, and that's what happened here. Natalia Silva, not that she's, an elder of the division. She's 25 years old, but she's got much more experience, and she's been in, back and forth fights throughout her career, long career, fighting great competition, or good competition at times anyway, and she had too much for Bleda down the stretch. So anyway, that's pretty much that is the recap. Overall, it's a pretty damn good night of fights. I'm happy Kennedy and Iwan got the headline. Again, Iwan Cutelaba should headline every UFC event, even if he loses every one of them. But sucks for Derek Lewis. Hopefully we see him and Spivak booked again soon, or both of them against other fighters or whatever. UFC has their own logistics to worry about. But thank you for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, and check out my other videos.